Hello everyone, it's time for a readathon wrap-up. This one is for the Little Cafe. This one took place on Discord. I will link the Discord channel in the description box. And I was on Team Pineapple. This was a team-based readathon and Team Pineapples won. Yay, let's go team. We did great. So you could read the prompts to defend your team. If you read prompts for other teams, you ended up attacking that team. So each team had, what, 6 prompts? Yes, so we had Team Pineapple, Team Peach, Team Blueberry, and Watermelon. So I won't go into all of the prompts. I will say for Team Watermelon, I did not read any of their prompts. For Team, so we'll just go ahead and get Team Watermelon's prompts out of the way. Okay, for Team Blueberry, I read 3 prompts for Team Blueberry. So there are 3 books that I used to attack Team Blueberry. One was Blueberry Tart. This was to read a book that was published before 2010. For this one, I did an ebook and I read After Dark by Haruki Murakami. I'm sure I said that wrong. 2 stars. It was 247 pages. It was just not my thing. If you like magical realism, this may be more up your alley. It just was not for me. I struggle with magical realism. It is the one genre that I have read that I'm just very hit or miss with, generally more miss than hits. For this one, we are following, I did like that this started out with the girl at Dee's or Denny's. I have a fondness for Dee's and Denny's, this restaurant chain, because my grandpa used to always go there, always got his morning coffee there, had his breakfast there, would just go sit a couple times a day and have coffee and talk to people. So, and then whenever he came to Utah or we went to Colorado, we always had to have at least one stop at Dee's or Denny's, whichever one was local. So I have a fond memories of Dee's or Denny's. So I loved that aspect. This follows a main character who is sitting there. She's doing like some homework. This man just comes and randomly sits down, starts talking to her, and so she's talking back to him. This takes place in Japan. And at one point, this main female character goes to help someone at this one, I don't know the exact word. I want to say it was called I don't even know what it was called. I can't remember, but it's where people can go and meet up with someone and have sex at this like hotel type place. And people don't just rent a room. It's that the girls are there pretty much all the time, and then this man comes, picks a girl, and goes and have sex with her in her room. That type of a situation. The magical realism aspect comes into play as far as some of the POVs were from this third-party type person that was saying things like, we are following this main character, whatever her name was, as we look at her through this screen and we zoom in and zoom out, and this is what we could see within the confines of the TV. And it was just, I was left with much more questions than answers. I do like a couple of things. I don't mind unanswered questions, but I do like some things wrapped up, and I just felt like there was really nothing wrapped up. So, but I will say I did like the writing. The writing was well done. I have not written this author off. I will check out more of this author's work because I really did like the writing. The writing was beautiful. Loved the writing, but the story was just not for me. And that's fine. Not everything an author writes is going to be for you. Okay, the next prompt for Team Blueberry was Blueberry Popsicle. This is to read a poetry collection. I read, Oh, It's You. This is written by Francesco Marciuliano. I'm not sure how to say that. I apologize. I gave this one 5 stars. It was 111 pages. This poetry collection is all from the cat's perspective. So it's the cats talk about their life, sleeping, what they do with you, what they think of you, napping, things like that. All from the cat's perspective. It was fun. If you are an animal lover, especially a cat lover, the more you like cats, the more you'll like this poetry collection, I think. So there you go. And then for Team Blueberry, I did Blueberry Pancakes, and this is to read the first book in a series. I read Carrots by Colleen Helme. This is a fantastical mystery. I gave this one 4 stars. It was 287 pages. The main character goes into a grocery store to pick up carrots to do for a stew or some kind of dinner. And there happens to be a bank at said grocery store. Someone comes in to rob the bank. and shoots someone, and the main character doesn't duck fast enough, so she gets shot. It like grazes her head or something. But from this injury, she starts to be able to read or hear people's thoughts. So she doesn't read their minds, she can hear their thoughts. And someone finds out about this and is like, how do you know about so-and-so? How did you find this information out? And she has to teach herself not to always respond when she hears people's thoughts, because they're not always speaking. So it was fun. We'll leave it at that. Okay, so that was all I did for Team Blueberry. For Team Peach, I attacked twice. Peach Cobbler was to read a book that was set in a hot location. I did The Water Knife by Paolo Bacigalupi. I gave this one 3 stars. It was 371 pages. This is set in mostly Arizona, sometimes in Nevada, but mostly in Arizona, which is like a really hot state in the United States. I've been there like once, but just in the airport during like a layover one time several years ago. But hearing what the temperatures are like in Arizona, I have no desire to go to Arizona because of the heat. I have always struggled ever since a child when I was at a very healthy weight. Even at that point, I know I'm overweight now, and so the heat is a little bit harder to deal with. But even when I have ever been at a healthy weight, I have always struggled with the heat. So I don't have a desire to go to Arizona. This one takes place during a drought, so it's even hotter than you would think it is. And you have like mob type organizations that control the water and who can access it and by how much. And so it's definitely a climate control fiction type of a situation. And it was definitely interesting. Definitely got me thinking about how precious water actually is. Next up for Peach was Peach Sorbet. And this was to read a book you will find refreshing. I find the Fear Street books refreshing. They're just a fun time. This is a young adult horror. This particular one I gave 3 stars. It was 165 pages. This one we're following a group of teenagers as they meet after midnight and they go and play some jokes or pranks. They do get more severe, and when I say more severe, it starts from like just scaring someone who's making out in a car to breaking and entering. So the severity, as the time goes on, the pranks do increase as far as severity goes. There is a dead body at one point that is found, and it just goes from there. As far as finding it refreshing, R.L. Stine and the Fear Street books by R.L. Stine are what got me into reading. So for me, it's just a refreshing, quick read. Kind of like a palate cleanser, I guess, would be a great way to say. And they're just fun. There's not a lot of thinking involved. It's not in depth. It's just a fun, quick read. So for me, a fun, quick read is refreshing. So there you go. Okay. And all the rest of the prompts were for my team, to defend my team. So for Team Pineapple, I had, let's see, Pineapple Mint, or Pineapple Mint Lemonade, excuse me. This is to read a book with disability rep. I went with How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. This has anxiety, and someone is actually having some panic attacks. You also have someone that has epilepsy, and this person does have a seizure in this book. I have not read a book where someone has a seizure, so I really liked that. And I gave this one 4 stars. It was 325 pages. For this one, we are following the main character, whose name is Tom. And he has this condition that once he reaches a certain age, his biological clock really slows down. So he looks like he's 14 years old, but he's really 314. And then finally when he's 25, he's really 675 or something like that. So he just ages extremely slowly. So he doesn't get sick. Now, as he does get older, at some point, his body will start catching things like the flu and colds and stuff. So because he doesn't age, he's got to move around. So at one point he's in Spain, he lives in America for several years, and then he's in England and London. This one follows 2 different timelines from Tom. One is the present day where he's currently in London, and he is a history teacher and things like that. He also gets debilitating headaches or like migraines at some point. So that's another representation in here. The other timeline that we're following is Tom's past life. He talks about when he was with his mother. He was born at a time where if there was something odd, women were thought to be witches, and so they were put in the river to pass a certain test. If they passed this test, they were just innocent and they were dead. If they failed the test, then it would prove that they are witches. So he lives a time during that, and then it's more present day. So he's hundreds upon hundreds of years old. And that's this book. So I like this one. And Matt Haig, I did find that he is autistic. This was the book selection where for Autism Reads, where we read a book every month by an author that is autistic, and this was the selection for July. Another pineapple prompt was Pina Colada. This is to read a book that has a twist. For me, mysteries, thrillers, horrors, cozy mysteries, something like that, and I went with a cozy mystery. The Rocky Road to Ruin by Mary Ellen. It's your standard cozy mystery. This one we are following Riley Rhodes. She was a member of the government organization, the CIA. She takes a break, goes back to her hometown, helps her friend who owns this ice cream shop. She is there also because her friend's mother has passed away. And then, so they have, within the first chapter, they're dealing with the funeral and that grief. And then a little later on, someone close to the friend that owns this ice cream shop passes away. This friend of Riley's is the main suspect for the police. Riley is convinced her friend is innocent, doesn't do it. Like most cozy mysteries, the main character inserts themselves into the investigation, tends to put their life at risk, but they don't care. They're inserting themselves into the investigation to prove their friend's innocence in this case. And things ensue. Secrets are revealed, which they can twist things, and that it's a mystery. There's going to be a twist at the end. So cozy mystery, you just don't have to worry about anything sexually explicit or rough language. So it's a clean mystery, and they are just really fun. So I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one 4 stars, and it was 338 pages. Next up was Pineapple Margarita. This is to read a book with yellow on the cover. I read Christmas at Copper Ranch. This is a romance, and it is one that takes place at Christmas, as you can see from the title. And there's lights, and the lights are yellow. So there's yellow on the cover. This was written by Jane Porter. I gave this one 4 stars. It was 147 pages. This one does have a sexually explicit scene in it, but it is mostly sweet. This one we're dealing with a lot of grief. We're dealing with a lot of grief. You have loss of a partner, you have loss of children, and then you just have people coming to terms with the death of someone that they really loved and allowing their heart to start accepting love again and giving themselves that permission to not only grieve, but giving themselves permission to love once again. Then I have Pineapple Popsicle. This is to read a book with a cold character. I went with Caution Tape, co-authored by Molly Doyle and J.D. Midnight. This is a dark romance, very dark. It is sexually explicit. And when I say cold, this is what, the reason why I say this one fits the prompt of cold character is because the main characters are very cold-hearted, because they are serial killers, and serial killers are very cold, they're distant, they're shut off from the world and humankind. Although they tend to be, when they're out in person, they act a certain way, but that is their fake self. Their real self is very cold and calculating and dark. I say it fits the prompt. It is sexually explicit. Blood is a sexual turn-on for these characters, and these characters are giving themselves to kill people and have sex around a dead body and involving blood. And so yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So definitely dark. Definitely look up content warnings to look at if you're interested in picking this up. But yeah, very dark. The next pineapple prompt I did was Pineapple Fritter Rings. I don't know what those are. This is to read a book with a ring or circle on the cover. I went with Alice by Christina Henry. This is not the romance duo author. This is a retelling of Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This I gave 3 stars. It was 292 pages, and it is a horror. Alice is in a mental asylum. Something happens, and she is now out of the asylum, and she is with someone who was in the asylum with her. She is on the hunt for this white rabbit who is actually a person who this white rabbit has laid claim to Alice, and she wants to basically kill this white rabbit to free herself from his claim. And you have, this is very fantastical as far as obviously with the creatures, but there are magicians, so people with magical abilities and things like that. It is dark. You do have women who are in cages to dance provocatively, but they are forced to do so against their will. So just please be aware going into it. And I thought it was good. This is book number 1, and it's either a duology or a trilogy. But I am looking forward to continuing on to seeing what else is going to happen in this world. And then the last prompt that I read was Pineapple Whip, and this is to read a short book or a novella. I went with The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is a gothic horror classic and written by Robert Louis Stevenson. The ebook that I read was 67 pages. I gave it 3 stars. Honestly, I preferred the movie adaptation that I saw years ago to the book because we got more in the movie that I saw of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, of that person, where we did not get that in the book. It was more of other people seeing this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde person commit a certain crime just for a couple of minutes and what they were doing and how they felt and what they saw at the time. I just wanted more from Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde's perspective. But it was still worth a read in my opinion. So that is a total of 2,807 pages read for The Little Cafe. Divided by the 12 books, it is 233.92 pages per book. If I do this by the days in July, so 31 days, it is actually works out to be 90.55, so 90 and a half pages per day. As far as the star ratings, 1 book got a 2-star, 4 got 3 stars, 6 got 4 stars, and 1 got a 5-star. That is 49 stars issued. Divided by the 12 books, it is a 4.08 star average rating for this readathon. Very great result. Let me know, did you participate in the Little Cafe and which team were you on? Talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.